This is the DJI Avata 2 and I have been playing with it for over a week now. There has been obviously a fair bit of hype and excitement with this new model that replaces the original Avatar from DJI. Is this new model better? Definitely. Is it great for non-FPV flyers like me? Absolutely. Can you crash it repeatedly? Does it make my Mini 4 Pro seem as slow as driving Miss Daisy? Sadly, yes. Is this actually the most fun I've ever had flying a drone? Hello, I'm Ian and I play with drones, and after playing around with the Avatar 2 for a week or so, I can honestly say I have never had as much fun flying a drone as I have had with this one. Here I am at the Arboretum at Newbury Farm Plants in Silsoe in Bedfordshire, making the most of this latest FPV model from DJI that is firmly pegged at someone like me, who's an experienced drone flyer, but who, despite its best intentions, never seems to actually get the most out of what true FPV flying can offer. And that's possibly because I have had years of doing everything I can to avoid crashing, whilst FPV is all about flying close enough to crash without actually crashing. But what's brilliant about the Avatar 2 is how it flies crazy close, but does actually do its very best to avoid crashing, even if you try and fly it straight into the ground. And B, if you do crash, it's got a few tricks up its sleeves to get things straight, lift off and fly again. So, should we take a quick look at it? It is similar to the original Avatar. It's kept what was great about the Avatar, but it has improved or fixed what was wrong. Some of the basics, you can see it's got roughly the same design. These super tough wraparound bumpers protecting the props and body itself. This design is brilliant, and it saved my previous Avatar when I crashed it at high speed straight into a stone wall in Malta last year. No cracks, no damage, and pretty much no scratches thanks to the tough rubberized finish. And the new Avatar 2 has exactly the same bumpers, which saves the props if you do hit something. And you will, frankly, because if you don't crash, then you are not getting the most out of this drone. You'll notice the props are different though. There were 5 blades on the original Avatar, only 3 on the Avatar 2, and that has definitely made things a bit quieter. You can see in comparison we've lost the whiny on the original Avatar, so big improvement there. Ooh. The battery is now done properly as well. It's protected inside the body as well. The previous Avatar had the battery actually exposed as part of the body itself, which could, of course, have got damaged if you crashed. So better battery protection as well. Whole unit is a bit lighter. It's coming in at 377 grams. That's around 40 grams, 2 ounces lighter than the original Avatar. And that lighter weight, of course, is going to give you a longer flight time, which in the world of FPV is always painfully short. And this is actually despite the battery being a smidge lower capacity. The spec'd max flight time for the 2 is now 23 minutes versus 18 minutes hover time that you got on the previous model. Now, in the real world, I mean, me hooning around with this, I've been getting between 17, 19 minutes flight time, which, as I said, is absolutely brilliant for FPV. Speeds have also been tweaked too. We've got faster ascent and descent speed in sports mode, which does make a big difference to those big sweeping shots as you climb and swoop down faster, up to 9 meters per second instead of the lower 6 meters per second before. They've also upped the horizontal speed too in sports mode as well, up to 16 meters per second. So again, faster action when you're in sports mode. One thing to note though is the reduced speed in manual mode. Now, admittedly, manual mode is only possible with the proper remote control, not the motion controller. But because of the fact that the Avatar 2 is sporting one of these, a little C1 label, it's restricted to a top speed of 19 meters per second for any EU country. Of course, this is a geo restriction that only kicks in when you're actually flying in an EU country. Otherwise, top speed of 27 meters per second for flying in non-EU countries when you're in manual mode. What else? Camera. The camera and gimbal have also been improved. Greater range of movement, allowing things to stay in picture as the acrobatics unfold with even greater pitch. So the gimbal can move far more. And of course, the camera itself, it's now boasts the same size sensor as the Mini 4 Pro and the Air 3 even. The max bitrate of video recording on the Avatar 2 is actually down a smidge, but still very impressive, 130 megabits per second. And it now gives you the choice of filming in D-Log-M, which is way better for processing colors afterwards as well. What else? The internal storage has also been more than doubled, giving you 46 gigs of internal storage, which is probably going to be knocking on the door of around an hour's worth of 4K video at 60 frames per second. Obviously, you've also got the micro SD card as well. And on that, I actually had two huge beefs with the original Avatar that annoyed the out of me when I used it. One was the truly stupid location of the micro SD card and USB slot, which was inside the rim of one of the props. Fiddly doesn't even come close to describing getting a card in or out of the original Avatar. New Avatar 2 has got the, where is it? It's a nice little trapdoor there on the side of the body. You can get the USB in and the micro SD card in. You can actually get it in with your fingers. So kudos to DJI for fixing a problem that shouldn't have been a problem in the first place. Secondly, of course, these are the new Goggles 3, which have completely stepped up the mark, doing away with that also stupid dangling battery that you had to connect and then stuff into your pocket somewhere. Battery is now nicely housed in this back pack here, which has also got a nice, easy to turn dial, which basically tightens things up as you've got it on your head. You loosen it and tighten it up accordingly. So battery and strap adjustment all in one. Very, very nice. Be honest, the Goggles 3, they've had a fairly impressive makeover. They've lost the vague, difficult to control touchpad that you used to control all of the menu settings on. Now you've got a 5-way toggle button that you can press down. You've got a backup button, and underneath you have got the power button as well. And inside you've actually got the micro USB card slot there as well to be recording everything that you're seeing through the actual mask itself. The face contact actually feels cheaper than the thick foam of the Goggles 2. You can see it's very soft and flappy, but it's been designed this way for a good reason. The only real pressure you now feel when you're wearing the mask is on your forehead from this firm piece of soft foam here, with the rest of the flappy bits, if you like, contouring to your face and fitting perfectly. So you actually have far less pressure on your face. So very, very comfortable to wear. The specs are impressive as ever, 1080 high definition vision with even lower latency. So everything is pretty much live as you fly. And that's thanks to the new 04 video transmission. And the transmission signal as well itself, seriously impressive too. I did find the original Avatar very quick to lose its video the moment you went low or flew behind something. Avatar 2, definitely way, way better. Even when the drone was happily crashed in the grass at ground level, the transmission stayed good. And of course, as I said, all the fun that you're seeing in the goggles can be captured on the micro SD card, or it can actually be transmitted to somebody else holding a phone and running the Fly app alongside, so they can see exactly what you're seeing whilst you're flying. Brilliant, brilliant stuff. When you are recording on the micro SD card on the goggles, you've got a choice. You can either have all the telemetry and information recorded as well, or you can simply switch that off and just have a backup, a lower resolution of the main video itself. If you're flying somewhere where a crash could mean the very end of your drone, you've at least got the backup that was recorded on your goggles. And look, I know better than anyone. It happens. The goggles also have another really, really useful new feature, namely these. Two little external cameras giving you a live view of what's going on around you. And this is really, really useful, I think. You get to it by just double tapping either side of the goggles, and it lets you see the drone lifting off or whatever is going on immediately around you. Stops you having to lift your goggles off to actually see what's going on in the real world. So brilliant, brilliant thing there. You can even adjust the settings to give you a true picture-in-picture view. So you can see the drone's camera view in the upper left corner while still seeing real view at the same time. As I said, brilliant for when you're taking off. Very, very useful new feature. And finally, whilst they've been updating things, they have also updated this, the Motion Controller 3, which is singularly, to me, the very best thing I loved about this whole package and the best way to fly this drone. Once you get used to treating this like a joystick, you will find its precision is right up there. No latency, just precise movements that let you fly like a little pilot on a little fighter jet. It's absolutely brilliant. Now, for some reason, DJI have swapped the lock and the toggle button around. They're on different sides. Don't really know why, but they physically feel very, very different. You're not going to be muddling them up, so you'll get used to it very, very soon. Like the Motion Controller 2, you've got the ability to lift the accelerator, which of course that will actually reverse the drone when you're up against a brick wall or a tree or something. The original motion controller, the first motion controller, didn't have that function. You literally could not reverse if you got trapped into a dead end. But yep, like that you can. You've also got this new little bit of fun here. This is the little dial button that lets you carry out another of the new fun features of the Avatar 2, and that are these. Easy Acro or acrobatics, giving you easy one-touch slides, 180-degree drifts, or 360-degree flips at the touch of a button. Now, I've got to admit, anyone who's used to flying FPV may well be asking, why do you even need these? And in truth, you can easily switch them off so they don't even appear on your screen at all. But for those of you, like me, who make no claims to be a pro FPV flyer, then these are actually great fun. And the 180-degree drift does make for some really dynamic shots. You just set the Acro mode and you just trigger it by tapping the four-way joystick button, which will then also set the direction of the move. Flips can go forwards, backwards, or left or right, depending on which way you tap the little button. Likewise, for 180-degree drifts, left or right gives you a left or right direction turn, and the drone then carries on flying backwards. So, what's it actually like to fly? Well, like I said, absolutely brilliant fun. And what I really love is how the Avatar actually does its very best to look after you and itself and avoid crashing. Even when you try and fly straight down into the ground on purpose, it swiftly glides along the ground and you are literally trimming the grass tips as you fly along, but it will not hit the ground unless you do a sharp turn. It is absolutely brilliant to fly. As I said, it's like being a little pilot in a little mini jet. The bumpers protecting the props mean that they won't always stop if you clip branches or other obstacles, and often it will just keep on flying. As I said, though, eventually you probably will hit something and you'll finally hit the ground. But what I love about this is how good it is at being able to remotely get flying again without you having to walk over to it. If it's landed the right way up, after a few seconds, you'll be able to start the motors again and it will take off, even if it's stuck in grass on a bit of an angle. If it's landed upside down, then you can initiate turtle mode to flip it over on the ground to get yourself up in the air again. Now, turtle mode is literally a flip maneuver that the Avatar does to turn itself over off its back when it's stuck on the ground. Again, a really useful feature that stops you having to walk over to the crash site. You do have to navigate down via the settings, control, and then down to turtle mode option. Tap it, wait a second or two, and there we go. You can see it's flipped over and ready for flight again. No direct shortcut button for turtle mode, unfortunately, but it is a brilliant feature to know about. And in truth, I actually spent a 15-minute flight purposely trying to crash to test the remote takeoff ability of the Avatar 2 and the turtle mode function as well. And in absolute truth, it worked 10 times in a row. I would crash and it could either take off straight away or the turtle mode flipped it over. So very, very, very impressive remote takeoff abilities. I will admit though, sometimes nothing will get it up in the air except a bit of manual intervention. So there you go. As ever, I tried to keep it short, but there is an awful lot going on with this bit of kit. If you have got the Avatar, the original Avatar, you may well be wondering, is it worth upgrading? And to be honest, it's a bit of a hard call. Avatar 2 is faster, better designed, and the Goggles 3 are just way, way better to use. And the whole system seems to be much quicker and easier to unpack and get going and get flying. Hopefully, I have outlined what I see as the big improvements, and you can then make your own mind up as to whether or not it's worth buying or upgrading. But either way, if this video has been useful as ever, give me a little thumbs up, help the video along. Better still though, let me know your thoughts below. Is this a brilliant way to get into FPV flying? Personally, I definitely think so. Is it a brilliant model to buy if you're a seasoned FPV flyer? Yeah, that's not so straightforward, is it? Let me know your thoughts below. I always love reading what you guys have got to say, especially on something like this. Either way, as ever, until next time, have fun, happy flying.